You're listening to KPFT. We are 90.1 on the dial. If you're down in Galveston, pick us up at 89.5. And our friends up in the piney woods of East Texas, 91.9. It is time for Songwriter Studio. I'm your host, Tom Tranchilla, along with Lloyd Daniel back in the engineer's booth doing what he does weekly. Thank you so much, Lloyd, for the use of your studio and the use of your highly skilled engineering. It is our pleasure to bring one of my favorite songwriters of all time, Mr. Jack Williams, to the show this afternoon. How you doing, Jack?
I'm doing great. How are you, Tom?
I'm doing excellent, especially after coming off of Kerrville. We just got back from Kerrville. I had the opportunity to watch you a couple of times there, and big thanks to Sweetness and Light for bringing you in for a late night excellent show. And as usual, Jack packed the place. I don't think everybody drug out long chairs to see you, and you never failed to play flawlessly.
I wouldn't say flawlessly, but I'm glad you think so.
It's rare when anybody goes to see Jack Williams where you hear anything that's short of polished. You are definitely one of the most creative guitar players. You've backed up everybody under the sun, especially at the festival, and you've played numerous festivals around the country, but I'm one of the ones that still goes to Kerrville and still love it, and it's always a real pleasure to see you at the festival. Jack, we've got so many records. I was talking to you before the show. I've got about 8, maybe 9 of your releases. You said total you've recorded 15. Is that correct? 1 unreleased?
Well, there are 15, 1 unreleased, and 2 were CDs beforehand. I have 12 CDs now and 1 DVD.
Yeah, that are in print. I'm going to dig back in the past. We're going to start the show out with something off of one of my favorite albums, Eternity in Maine. Then we're going to move on to your brand new record. It just came out. A Tickle in My Soul. This has got 12 great tracks. Jack, what I really like about this album, it seems that you're going back to the theme and styles of your early 2000 albums, and it's just stellar. Every one of the songs is slightly different. You broke up the tempos, and I just really love the new record. But let's start out the show with Eternity in Maine, the last track off of there, one of my favorites, Where the Crosswinds Blow. And Jack, why don't you give a listening audience a little bit heads up on this track?
Well, there's not much to say about it. I was on the way from Columbia, South Carolina, up I-77, going up to meet I-81, which is my choice for traveling up to the Northeast to carefully avoid I-95. And going up there, I just saw dangerous crosswinds, and I imagined being a truck driver, and that's all it was. I just saw that, and it was just like a word association thing. It just sparked a whole bunch of images, and I just started writing those images down one after another, and came up with a kind of a off-the-wall version of I'm not sure what it is, but I've enjoyed the song. I'm glad the way it came out. I don't know really what more to tell you other than it was just a spur of the moment, off the top of the head thing when I saw that line, dangerous crosswinds ahead.
I'll tell you what a great way to close the album out, Eternity in Maine. And this is a song that I, on occasion in the past, have covered. I just love the lyrics and the guitar work. Off of Eternity in Maine, this is Jack Williams, Where the Crosswinds Blow.
Gangsters staring at a pool of blood, chainsaw growling in an ancient wood, the last straw hanging from a drummer's nose, lost on the mountain where the crosswind blows. Gambler leaving it all up to fate, derelict freezing on a sidewalk grate, red man dressing in a white man's clothes, all lost on the mountain where the crosswind blows. You can whistle Dixie when the curtain falls, paint pretty pictures on the prison walls, won't make a difference when the rooster crows. You're lost on the mountain where the crosswind blows. clouds in his eyes. Farmer watching Big Muddy on the rise. Schoolboys toting pistols in their clothes, lost on the mountain where the crosswind blows. Truck driver speeding through a pea soup fall. Tar baby waiting on a sycamore log. What'll I do? Where will I go? Lost on the mountain where the crosswind blows. Pharaoh's daughter washing in the Nile took that little baby for a very own child. She told him, you will be the great Pharaoh, but he got lost on the mountain where the crosswind blows. You can whistle Dixie when the curtain falls, paint pretty pictures on the prison walls. Won't make a difference when the rooster crows. You lost on the mountain where the crosswind blows. Lost on the mountain where the crosswind blows.
Off the Eternity in Maine album, 1999 release, Jack Williams, Where the Crosswind Blows. One of my favorites, Jack. I love that song, always did. Just a stellar job. I love the guitar work. I'll tell you what, I don't know who was playing bass there, but it really is one of the drivers of the song for sure.
Oh, yeah. That's my old friend, Kerry Taylor, from back in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah, he had it going on that. Speaking of, that's where you're originally from, North Carolina or South Carolina originally?
I'm a South Carolinian, born and raised.
Yeah, you've been in the music business 60 plus years, rock, folk, jazz, R&B, classical. You've done it all, and you were a band leader and even got recorded. I remember the story you told years ago by Tom Jones. Why don't you let the listening audience know a little bit about that?
Well, that was a total fluke. I was writing songs for my band. I had a five-piece band back in the 80s. And late 70s, early 80s, and I was writing songs for it, and we were playing almost exclusively my own tunes. And I wrote a rock and roll slow song called We're Wasting Our Time. We had a guy, a producer in Macon, Georgia, at Capricorn Records, who had produced Charlie Daniels and several other groups out of Capricorn. And he wanted to try to make something out of my career, and so he was recording us playing my songs. And somehow or other, he got together with the producer of Tom Jones' album, Steve Popovich, and the guy said, well, I don't like the music, but I like this song. So he didn't like our band, and that was just fine. But he said, let me pitch this to Tom. So the next thing you know, Tom Jones in 1980 recorded one of my songs. It ended up on his album, Tom Jones Country, which was hardly country at all, but he had to sell records somehow. So he put on a big hat and a big belt buckle and stood in front of a corral. I guess that made him country. And then the song ended up on the flip side of a number 4 country single. That was the first time only time I've ever seen what they call in the industry significant mailbox money, where I got paid for having written a song. I've been paid in the past, but nothing on this scale. It was a an interesting project. Fortunately, I didn't have to write for Tom Jones. He took something I already had. I didn't have to think about it. Unfortunately, his people asked me to write some more like that one, quote. And so I gave it a shot. I spent about 3 weeks putting a song together and demoing it down in Macon that we thought they might want. And they wrote back and said, yeah, this is good. This is good. We don't want this one, but write us a couple more. And me not being a factory assembly line songwriter like they are in Nashville, I just stopped dead in my tracks. I said, the 3-week effort to try to write another song for Tom Jones has almost ruined my taste for songwriting and has put a serious crimp in my creative mind. And so it was just almost enough to give up songwriting. And I didn't, but I did not follow through. I never sent them anything else and had no desire to. So I just went and enjoyed the mailbox money I got and went on my merry way.
Jack, I'm glad you did, because your solo records to me are some of the best out there, hands down, especially of any songwriter in the country. We've got
thank you so much.
In my hand right now, A Tickle in My Soul, the brand new release by Jack, just came out, and it's got 12 stellar tracks. We're going to play as many tracks as we can squeeze into this show, and then I would like to play a couple of my favorites off of Walkin' Dreams. But let's start out right now with the opening track off of A Tickle in My Soul, We're All Alike. And man, these words truly run very unique to this time we're living in right now. And this is a co-write with Jeff Bartley. Why don't you give the listening audience a little heads up, and we'll play this track.
Okay, I recorded this originally way back in 2003 at the same session where I recorded Walkin' Dream on the Live and in Good Company album. I was never totally satisfied either with the recording. I was okay with it. It was fun. It was very loose, and for what it was, I liked it. But I always wanted to hear that song in a different context, and I wanted different words. I wanted words that reflected more of what the song really was about. And so I rewrote the inner 3 verses, and that's what's on this new album, and I'm very happy with the way it came out.
I love the way it came out. Jack Williams, brand new music, the name of the new album, A Tickle in My Soul. This is We're All Alike.
It's always raining when the tire goes flat. The dog comes in when you put out the cat. We're all getting older, there's no way around that. If it ain't one thing, it's gonna be another. Take a hold of my hand, let's run for cover. We're all alike. We're all alike. We all know the difference between wrong and right. We all put the baby in the cradle at night. We all need love, that's alright. We're all alike. Now some are named Pedro and some are named Fritz. Some goes walking, some just sits. Some eats hash browns, some eat grits. There ain't a dime's bit of difference between left and right. If you got a stick of candy, everybody wants a bite. We're all alike. We're all alike. We all know the difference between wrong and right. We all put the baby in the cradle at night. We all need love, but that's alright. We're all alike. Black man, white man, Muslim and Jew, walk into a bar and say, how do you do? Along comes a Baptist and a young Hindu. They have a couple drinks, sing a couple songs. The proof's in the pudding, we can all get along. We're all alike. We're all alike. We all know the difference between wrong and right. We all put the baby in the cradle at night. We all need love, that's alright. We're all alike. We all get cold when the fire goes out. Confidence is shaken when we get into doubt. So we do the hokey pokey, cause that's what it's all about. Take a trip to Canada or Kathmandu, where they laugh and they cry and they walk like you. We're all alive. children must understand that it might be the fire or the frying pan, but we can make it all better if we get together with an open heart and a willing hand. We're all alike. We're all alike. We all know the difference between wrong and right. We all put the baby in the cradle at night. We all need love, and that's all right. We're all alike. And I'm just like you, and you're just like me.
From the brand new album, A Tickle in My Soul, Jack Williams, We're All Alike, with some tasty fiddle work by Randy Sabian. Looks like you brought in Kelly and Donna Mulholland for this project, Jack. I know you live by them up in Arkansas. Go ahead.
They're known as Still on the Hill, for those who don't know. They're a wonderful duo, formerly a quartet. They played Kerrville many times, but as a duo, they have really flourished, and they live just, well, we call them neighbors, even though it's 20 miles into town. But we have a nice little community here with them and the people from Trout Fishing in America just nearby. Kelly's the guy who understands the recording software that I use to make this album at home. I recorded it in my living room, and I learned this software under his mentorship. Of course, everything he said I couldn't understand, so my wife, Judy, who could understand such things, she translated all for me. And over the period of 2 years, we got this record done. If it hadn't been for Kelly, I probably never would have begun the project to start with. So they played and sang on it, and Kelly did an amazing job on the whole album, on banjo, mandolin. He played a little bass on one song and ukulele on the last tune. So they're really wonderful musicians, and I love having them play on the album.
Yeah, Kelly is certainly a master of many instruments. I love watching Still on the Hill live. They are so entertaining, and just the nicest folks, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Your guitar playing and the recording quality of your old D28 that you've been playing as long as I've known you is so crystal clear now. I know you recorded this record at home. Were you miking the D28 or the D35, excuse me. Were you miking that D35, and do you remember what you were using?
I've got a microphone. I can't even tell you what it is. It is a Behringer microphone that was retooled by a man who is something of a crazy genius out in L.A., but he has since passed on, but he gave me 2 of those microphones. Kelly and Donna use them too. They're absolutely wonderful. I use it for all my vocals and for my guitar. It's just a great mic. I'm technically absolutely in the dark when it comes to such things, but just having a good microphone was a great place to start.
Absolutely, they'll make or break an album, Jack. I love using good quality mics, and that whatever mic you did use on this just has stellar recording quality. I mean, the guitar work and the vocals is just as natural as you can get. Jack Williams is our guest on Songwriter Studio, featuring tracks off the brand new album, A Tickle in My Soul. We've got track number 4 queued up right now. You did a Chuck Pyle cover, Affected by the Moon. I know you were friends with Chuck, and this is just an excellent cover of Affected by the Moon. Why don't you give the listening audience a little bit heads up on this track?
Chuck passed away while he was fly fishing in Palmer Lake, Colorado, right behind his house. I don't know whether he had a stroke or heart attack, but he fell in the water and drowned. And it was just a terrible blow to the songwriter community, and especially to the music world of Colorado, because he was a Colorado favorite son. He'd been recorded by John Denver and Jerry Jeff Walker. Just an incredible performer and superior guitarist. He had a guitar style that was just inimitable. When he passed away, some folks got together with some members of his family and friends and began a series of memorial concerts at the Swallow Hill Music Hall in Denver, where they would gather together artists along the line of, Nolly O'Brien was there, and Don Richmond, and some other really wonderful performers, each of us playing 2 Chuck Pyle songs. I have to admit that I cheated on one of my songs because Chuck recorded one of my songs, The Outlaw's Dream. and did an amazing job of it. And so I played The Outlaw's Dream, and of course most people figured it was a Chuck Powell song, so I was okay. But I decided I needed to redeem myself for the second one, and I learned the title song from that album, Affected by the Moon, which has his unmistakable guitar style, and I tried my best to play it the way Chuck played it. And it took some doing. It took months of practicing. There are people who think that Chuck and I played a lot alike, and yet when Chuck and I were together, he and I both realized that we could not do what the other was doing. And so it took a couple of months of hard work to learn to play it the way that he played it. And then we put it down, and we got that same fiddler you heard on We're All Alike, Randy Sabine, to play, and he did just an amazing job on this song. In fact, when I sent it to him and asked him if he'd like to put a part down, he said, "Man, I was born to play this song." And you can hear it on the recording. It's in tribute to Chuck, who was a dear friend, and we miss him. And I figured the best way to pay tribute to him was to put out one of his songs in my own version.
Well, you did a stellar job. Let's listen to that track right now off the brand new album, A Tickle in My Soul, Jack Williams. This is Affected by the Moon.
Gypsy guitar, violins play, cafe bar, Champs-Élysées. Music's hot, tempo's up, ready or not, falling in love. Far from the frantic pace of life, so today sweet. This out of the way place carries you and me to romantic consequences, coming to our senses, and not a moment too soon. So very affected by the moon. Dancing hip to hip, oh civil play, beautiful lips, sip Cabernet. And what is this if not time out of time? Stolen kiss, the perfect crime. Far from the frantic pace of life, so today sweet. This out of the way place carries you and me to romantic consequences, coming to our senses, and not a moment too soon. So very affected by the moon.
Affected by the Moon. Jack, what a beautiful song. Just superb
Oh, man,
job.
I love that song. And playing, it's just so much fun. And it put a little different flavor in my live performances, too. I don't have anything quite like that, and it was nice to add that to my playlist.
Randy Sabian just played some stellar violin, fiddle, depending on the terminology you use. And is that Liz Williamson singing background vocals?
Yes, she's from around the area of Gainesville, Florida. She lives down on Gatorbone Lake. And Randy Sabian is up from St. Paul, Minnesota.
Well, they both did a great job of really enhancing the song. Just a great groove. I love the track. Thank you so much for recording that. Let's move on to...
Thanks for listening.
Old solid rock and roll. I know you wanted to throw in a rock and roll tune, being an old rock and roller yourself. Talk a little bit about that.
I wrote this song somewhere between 30 and 35 years ago. It's an older tune that never got recorded. I take that back. You remember that album that I told you that I recorded that I forgot I recorded?
Yes.
Well, this was on that, and that's the only time it's ever been recorded. And I've always had such a good time with it that we decided to put it on this album. And I always remembered that Dobie Gray recorded that great, what's it called? Give me the beat, boys, free my soul. Want to get lost in your rock and roll? Drift Away. That was the name of that song.
Right.
And I thought, that's the only song that I think I've ever heard that spoke lovingly about rock and roll. It was almost like a rock and roll love song in a way. And I wanted to write a song that kind of celebrated that old rock and roll feel. And the way we were back in the late 50s, from 55 up until about 1960, 61, about the time Kennedy became president, it was a really special time for me because those were my first years of playing professionally. I started in 58. In the song, it says back in 59, graduation time. I really did graduate in 61, though, but I needed 59 for the rhyme. So you take liberties. Anyway, this song was meant to just reflect that era, kind of the way we talked, the way we thought, the way we dressed, the way we acted, and a little bit of the way we music sounded. And I decided to record it all on acoustic instruments and not use electric guitars and not try to duplicate the old sound, but just try to represent it in an acoustic way. And that's what it is.
Let's listen to that track right now. Old solid gold rock and roll. This is Jack Williams off the brand new album, A Tickle in My Soul.
Back in 59, graduation time. My shoes were superb, my hair was immaculate. I had the perfect day. I said, we cannot wait. She said, if you be cool, I might let you be the first to tackle it. And my new chrome pipes and my racing stripes, my 57 Chevy was the creme of the creme de la creme. And a school that small, no competition at all. When it came to the hop, without a doubt, you were the queen of the gym. Chain me to the backbeat. Chain me down and let the good times roll. And every now and then, my feet will fly again to the beat of that old solid gold rock and roll. We had the beat from the back. There was a grumbling strat. We knew we were part of something too big to deny. And as I stood watching all night long, and you and I danced to every song, and we sang all the words to every star in the sky. Chain me to the backbeat. Chain me down and let the good times roll. And every now and then, my feet will fly again to the beat of that old solid gold rock and roll. 1969, graduation time. My shoes were superb, my hair was immaculate. I had the perfect date, all the teeth were straight. She said, if you be cool, I might let you be the first to tackle it. Chain me to the back seat. Chain me down and let the good times roll. And every now and then, my feet will fly again to the beat of that old solid gold rock and roll. Yeah, and every now and then, my feet will fly again to the beat of that old solid gold rock and roll.
Old solid gold rock and roll. Jack Williams, brand new album, A Tickle in My Soul. I'll tell you what, Jack, you were tearing it up. Did you really own a 57 Chevy? That's my question.
No, I had a 56 Chevy. I dreamed of a 57 Chevy, though. We all did.
And they're in high demand even today, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
Jack,
I remember my first car was a 52 Chevy.
I learned to drive on a 54 Chevy myself, so.
Yeah, well.
Three-speed.
Good starter kits.
Yes, they were. You do songwriting classes. Tell us a little bit about some of the offerings that I know that you and Still on the Hill occasionally do these clinics.
Yes, but they aren't songwriting clinics. Songwriting plays a role in them, but they're creativity. We have a creativity retreat twice a year here in the Ozarks in May and October. And we used to have 20-plus people in a room together, but we have pared it down. COVID kind of gave us a chance to try it with a smaller group. It costs a little bit more, but everybody gets a whole lot more attention. We're down to maybe 12 at the max now. And Kelly, Donna, and I each teach a session over a short weekend from Friday midday to Sunday midday. And Judy, my wife, she's the organizer of the whole thing. And we've been doing it now for 15 years. And it's interesting that the people who come there kind of become part of a community that is stretched from Illinois to Oregon to Southern California to Southern Florida. And we all pretty much stay in touch with each other, talk about how we've all grown and how we haven't. And it's not intended for songwriters per se, and yet almost everyone who attends is a songwriter. The whole idea is we're there to try to help them with ideas. It's an idea clinic. Where do ideas come from, and what can you do to up your own creative ante? And it becomes a safe place to play your ideas because we have almost all people there. I'd say the majority of attendees are entry-level players or singers. Some of them have never played before, ever. This is the kind of place where we have that. We also have had touring pros who have come and taken the retreat with us. And we all sit in the room together and we all share music together. And everybody learns very quickly that nobody is there to judge anybody else. And so it's been a great thing. I do a lot of other workshops myself at festivals and other single events when I'm playing during the year. And I teach a performance workshop called Finding Your Inner Rubber Chicken. And I do one called Playing the Music in Your Head, which is intended to teach people to take the ideas that they have and make them come out on their instrument. That seems to be a real tough thing for some people. They've got all kinds of ideas, but they say, I hear this in my head, but I just can't play it. And the idea is to give them tools to be able to do that. And it comes down essentially to teaching what they call relative pitch, being able to hear something and then to be able to translate it to your instrument. And the other one, probably the most successful workshop I've done, is called the Songwriter's Guitar. I have people who come to me because they hear the way that I accompany myself. That's the thing that I enjoy most about playing guitar, is accompanying myself or someone else. And as you can hear in my own songs, some of my accompaniments are fairly elaborate and sometimes complex. It's not necessarily that way. It's just the way that I think. But people want to know how can they better accompany their own songs that they're writing. Some of them just strum, sing a song, or wonder, well, maybe I could get somebody to play another instrument. But instead of doing that, a lot of them seem to forget that they're holding a virtual orchestra in their hands. And they forget that there are things that you can do, and they're not complex things necessarily. Very simple things that you can do, and just teach people how to accompany themselves to make an effective setting for their songs. And those are most of the workshops that I do. And the one we do with Kelly and Donna twice a year is called the Wattle Hollow Creativity Retreat. Wattle, as in the red things that hang from a turkey's face. And we do it down in a rustic, it's a retreat area that's very near my home here, down right next to a 300-foot gorge in the Ozarks. It's a drop-dead, beautiful setting. And in fact, I think sometimes that the setting is 50% of the charm of our retreat. We have many people who attend. I'd say 50% who attend are returnees. They just keep coming back. We've had people attend as many as 20, 25 times to this retreat.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they just keep coming back, and because we do it together. It's not just a bunch of people blathering away about, technical skills. Very little technique is being taught. Only things for ideas.
Jack, if they're interested in this, where do they go? Do you have a website with all the sign-up information?
Yes, the website is also the only place you can get my CDs, and that is jackwilliamsmusic.com. www.jackwilliamsmusic. Just don't forget the music part, or else you'll get air conditioning or tire sales or something.
You Google Jack Williams, there's plenty of them, but it has to have music behind it, I understand.
Right. And I don't want anybody to get confused. I learned lately that there apparently, I think maybe coming out of the southwestern U.S., is a young Jack Williams who seems to be making some waves in the pop world. And I had a couple of DJs say, Jack, I heard a cut off your new album. It's nice, but it doesn't sound like you. And there is another Jack Williams making some waves right now, but they've come and gone, and I'm still here. So jackwilliamsmusic.com is where you can find me.
Jack Williams is our guest on Songwriter Studio. We've got a little bit of time left. I do want to squeeze a couple more tracks on the brand new album, A Tickle in My Soul. We've got the next track queued up, Swing High, and you brought in Judy Smith for this. Tell us a little bit about this track.
Well, let's see. Hold on a second. Judy, did you play on this one? Swing High?
Oh, I think I did some mandolin.
Oh, she did a mandolin thing. That's right. Yep. Judy learned mandolin, believe it or not, at our Wattle Hollow Creativity Retreat. She took it up there, and she got good enough to where I just called her from the living room and I said, come on in here and play this part.
Good for you.
Right. Well, this song, Swing High, this is going to be the wackiest thing you've probably ever played on your radio show. It's pretty crazy. It only refers to a cluttered mind. I mean, everybody we know, has a hard time maybe going to sleep sometime when their mind is full. And as Chuck Pyle used to say, the lights are on and everybody's home. And my head, is just spinning around with these things. So I just decided to write a song that was really nothing but fun. It was nothing but fun to play and fun to write, and it's fun to sing. And there are people who scratch their heads after hearing it and saying, what in the world was that? And that's perfectly all right, because that's basically what the song's about.
Let's listen to Swing High right now off the brand new album, A Tickle in My Soul, featuring Judy Smith on mandolin.
A brain's a terrible thing, a massive confusion and a whole lot of pain, like a Tupperware party in the back of a skull, full of blabber and chatter till you're addled and dull. Send in a worry, an accordion or two, some children, chickens, and a train running through, forgetting, regretting, turning the screw. What you gonna do now, boy? What you gonna do now? Swing high, swing high. I'm overloaded and I'm about to cry. My mind's as cluttered as the midnight sky. swing high. Now I'm up the creek with no relief, been running through the alley like a common thief. So I buy me a ticket and I take my seat up above the altar where I wash my feet. And I come to my senses and I look around, I shake my head and start climbing down. And I get to the bottom, but it can't be found. What you gonna do now, boy? What you gonna do now? Swing high, swing high. I'm overloaded and about to cry. My mind's as cluttered as the midnight sky. Swing high. Now you can show me the numbers to economize, but I'd rather lose it all than apologize. Won't you tell me your names again? Damn, I forgot them. I'm a bucket full of noise with a hole in the bottom. And 1, 2, 3, I've lost my way like a mockingbird with too much to say. When the men in white coats come to take me away, what am I gonna do now, boy? What am I gonna do now? Swing high, swing high. I'm overloaded and about to cry. My mind's as cluttered as the midnight sky. Swing high. I'm like a mini arcade on a Saturday night, like a pinball, bouncing from light to light. You know, thinking never got me from here to there, running down through the cellar, up a crooked stair, and I'm lost in the crowd, and I'm turning blue, so I climb on the ceiling for a better view. I was looking for God, but I found you. What you gonna do now, boy? What you gonna do now? Swing high, swing high. I'm overloaded and about to cry. My mind's as cluttered as the midnight sky. Swing high, swing high.
Swing High, brand new music by Jack Williams. A Tickle in My Soul, featuring Randy Sabian and Judy Smith on mandolin. Great song, Jack. I don't know how you arranged that guitar work in there, but you were all up and down the neck. It was just a very, very beautiful piece.
Well, I don't know if I would call it beautiful, but I'm glad you hear some beauty in it. It was just a lot of fun doing it, and when I sent it to Randy to play on it, I couldn't believe that he actually went and learned that lick with me. And on the fiddle, it must have been demonic.
Yeah, that was excellent how you guys worked that out. That was just, it had to take a little practice. That's all I got to say. If you're tuning in, Jack's been our guest for the last 50 plus minutes. A Tickle in My Soul, brand new music, just came out. Picked it up at the Kerrville Festival from Jack on one of his great sets out there. Just had a blast this year. Other than the heat, everything was wonderful. Jack, you've got a slew of albums out. You already gave him the information, but let's give it to him one more time. It's jackwilliamsmusic.com.
That's correct.
We're going to go ahead and play one more track off the new album, When the Light Is Gone. Tell the listening audience a little bit about this track.
This song was written in 2019. Actually was written in its entirety during the solar eclipse that year. We were on the way back, coming back down I-44, passing through St. Clair, Missouri, and we had planned it carefully so that we would meet the path of totality of the eclipse right there on I-44, and we did. We got there a little early, and we were able to set up our folding chairs along with several hundred people along the expressway exit, and we sat there, and as the moon started covering up the sun, I started playing a song. I just started writing, and by the time the eclipse had finished, I had finished with the song.
That's incredible.
and it was, it's just pretty much reflective of everything about it everything about it has to do with the eclipse. But there's also, when it comes to the chorus, there's a strong hint of the fact that as far as our culture these days, our political culture and everything else that's going on, that we have been in something of an eclipse ourselves. And that is hinted at least. I rarely ever write anything that's political or states my feelings on things. And I didn't in this case, too. But at the same time, I very often hint at it. And so you might hear that in here, or you might not, if you don't care to turn your attention that way. It's really a song about the eclipse, and that's it.
From the brand new music, brand new album, A Tickle in My Soul, Jack Williams, this is When the Light Is Gone.
Dogs commence to howling, birds are hunkering down, the air's getting chilly and the lights come on in town. Everybody's asking, what on earth is going on? The moon swallowed the sun, there's trouble when the light is gone. Rooster starts to crowing, crickets chirping rhyme, spring peepers peeping, they've lost all sense of time. The great horned owl is hooting, the dove beds down with the fawn. The moon swallowed the sun, there's trouble when the light is gone. You don't believe in people and you don't believe in love. You don't believe in science or the telltale sign above. You prayed for something different and it finally came along. Now you're cursing in the dark, wondering where the light is gone. I've seen the great aurora and the endless Milky Way. I've felt the earth tremble and I've seen the buildings sway. But nothing can be stranger than the moon crossing over the sun. And a world that's growing dark, there's trouble when the light is gone. You don't believe in people and you don't believe in love. You don't believe in science or the telltale sign above. You prayed for something different and it finally came along. Now you're cursing in the dark, wondering where the light has gone. You're cursing in the dark, wondering where the light has gone.
When the Light Is Gone, another great track from the brand new album, A Tickle in My Soul. Jack Williams has been our guest on Songwriter Studio. Jack, if they want to contact you or sign up for one of your workshops, it's jackwilliamsmusic.com. And check your schedule to see if you're coming to Houston anytime soon to do some shows. I really appreciate you spending an hour with Songwriter Studio. Big thanks to Lloyd in the control room, and please stick around. Up next, we have Irish Airs, followed by Bluegrass Depot. Jack, we're going to go out with one of your older songs that I really love, Thirsty Town. This is so appropriate for the summer we're going through right now. Thank you so much. Anything else you want to let the listening audience know?
I can't think of anything. I just hope that they'll check out the new CD, come visit me at the website, and I hope I see them out somewhere on the road.
Thank you so much. We love your music, and we miss you down here in Houston. Get back as soon as possible. Give Judy our best, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Stick around. We'll see you next week here on Songwriter Studio.
August ain't no place for man nor beast along this river. I could raise a sweat with just the thought of sitting down. People get so testy in this heavy, humid weather, where the ivy leaves burn right into the ground. Corn is at my knees and it crackles like brown paper. Gators eat each other when the water gets this low. There ain't no sign of rain, wells are dried up, tempers flaring. Bugs will have a feast tonight, I know. Lyle sits alone down on the dock, drinking whiskey, staring in the mud at a rattler dying slow. Lyle never came back from the jungle South Pacific. This heat might not affect him, I don't know. Kenneth sprinkles water on his mother's little garden, but oh, those filling station boys are restless on his mind. They'll devise a torment and humiliation for him as the young tomatoes wither on the vine. How much hotter can the sun beat down on tortured souls in this thirsty town? Summer brings a fever, no sign of relief. How much hotter can the sun beat down? 7 months along, Miss Emily planned to go to Texas. Desperate for a man, she found one more than her share. All those magazines taught her love's little secrets. Now the dusty morning greyhound chokes the air. Miss Maud is up at sunrise as she walks down through the arbor, licking thin dry lips as she stares into the ground. That cracking soil is home now to the only one who kissed her. 60 years of drought still gets her down. How much hotter can the sun beat down on tortured souls in this thirsty town? The summer brings a fever, no sign of relief. How much hotter can the sun beat down? fan up in the window moves the curtains just a little. Lying on my bed, I know my sheets are soaking wet. August ain't no place for man or beast along this river. The heat'll make a beast out of me, yeah. The mercury's above 110 in the shade. I crave a sip of sweet lemonade. Lyle wraps his head up in a wet bandana and slithers down the back roads of South Carolina. How much hotter can the sun beat down on tortured souls in this thirsty town? The summer brings a fever, no sign of relief. How much hotter can the sun beat down?